Yesterday, it was Happy New Year. And it's already, we're approaching the 4th month already. And I pray that in places where it seemed like we're not moving, that God's speed and grace will be sufficient to do that. Amen. This morning, we have the Punch newspaper. We have the Guardian newspaper and the Nigerian Tribune. And from the three of them, we will be reading to go through the front page. And when we come back right after all of that, we look at or dive straight into in-depth analysis to help you make sense of stories in Nigeria today. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the program. Let's start with the Punch newspaper on page 25. Experts lament as crude shortage. Crude shortage funds ground 7 refineries. Experts lament crude shortage funds ground 7 refineries on page 25. And on page 12, 807 meningitis cases, 74 deaths recorded in 2022 states, says NCDC on page 12. And on page 2, Rivers Elders Group Salam Ibas for sacking Fubara's appointees on page 2. And on the same page, House under fire for reversing immunity withdrawal bill on page 2. Moving on to the major story, which is also on the same page, on page 2. 60-year age limit. PDP orders knock reps, says bill, and president governors misplaced. The writer to the story says bill may bar Tinubu Atiku Obi from the 2027 poll. CUPP SDP back candidate incompetent against age-based bill. And on page 38, Eid al-Fitr and SCDC FRSC deploy operatives in prayer grounds orders. That's on page 38. And of course, it's the big day of the president on page 17. Tinubu marks 73rd birthday today. 6 spiritual guidance for Nigeria. Happy birthday, Mr. President. We'll talk about that later on the show. On page 38, Mahama briefs Tinubu on ECOWAS talks with Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. And of course, on page 35, Daniel Abiodun, trade words over Taswood takeover by the federal government. On page 4 and 5, parent tackle Ogun school over incision on children's bodies. Why? You'll find that story on page 4 and 5. And finally, on the Punch, LG crisis Oshu, APC, PDP clash over meeting with the AGF. Moving on to page 3, or moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. This morning, we start with page 3 of the Tribune. Again, Senate throws out motion to immortalize Nwosu, observes 1 minute silence. Southeast senators in shock. We're not deterred on page 3. And on page 4 to this very sad story. Makinde Adelabu Bagudu Ali, APC mourn Ajimobi's 42-year-old daughter's death. Our heart is with the family of the former governor of Oyo State, the family of Senator Abiola Ajimobi, and of course the good people of Oyo State. We pray that God will console the family and give them the fortitude to bear this very, very great loss. Amen. Moving on to page 4. Alleged 2023 election funding Atiku rubbishes link with Sanwo-Olu. The rider says, I have never met him. I had no transaction with him. Money transfer allegation aimed at sacking Lagos Gov. You find that story on page 4. And on page 7, Nigeria's economy achieving stability, says Finance Minister. On the same page, NNPC at final stage of listing in the capital market. Reps rescind decision on BL to stop Deputy Gov of Immunity. The bill for general election to hold one-day skills second reading in the Senate. Sharia, I will abide by the Constitution, says Makinde. UBA chart path for 2025 to focus on innovation, digital transformation, and sustainability to expand operations to Saudi Arabia, France in 2025. And finally, Mahama briefs Tinubu on Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger mission, says situation with Sahel states more complex than expected. Let's take our final daily before we take in-depth analysis. I have not received recall notice from INEC, says Natasha on page 3. NBS needs $15 million yearly to achieve data integrity, says the World Bank. CIS LAC says Rivers Sole Administrator's action threatens democracy on page 3. And on page 6, Reps Small return to parliamentary system. Age limit for politicians on page 6. And on the same page, 2027, your second term, a done deal. Akpabio assures Tinubu despite discontent. On page 6, still, Southeast senators lobby Tinubu as Senate reject motion to honor Nwosu. We will always align with Constitution on Sharia law, says Makinde of Oyo. In Lagos, the state has deficit of 30,000 doctors, nurses, and other health professionals. On page 7. And finally, Atiku denies receiving funds from Sanwo-Olu during 2023 election. And that's all time would permit us to take this morning. On the front page, we read from the Punch, the Tribune, that's the Nigerian Tribune, and the Guardian newspaper this morning. Once again, thank you for joining us. You can join the conversation this morning on our Facebook page. You can watch us live on Facebook, facebook.com/Wells Radio 893 FM fan page on Facebook. Watch the video, like the video, drop your comment, and of course, share the video. And this morning on YouTube, you can also watch us live on YouTube this morning if you want to. If YouTube is convenient, we're live on YouTube this morning on our YouTube page, Wells Radio 893 FM. Wells Radio 893 FM. That's our handle on YouTube. Go right there, watch the video, like the video, and drop your perspective this morning on the program. Welcome to Perspectives Unlimited again.
A landmark foundation, blah, 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 blah. This is the reason it is even more painful that you allegedly have all this courage to conduct elections. I'm on record as saying that Professor Wosu and President Babangida fooled 18 million Nigerians that voted.
President Tinubu to name structures after Ngosu. It will not happen. It will not happen. Tinubu will not do that.
He failed at the critical moment when he's supposed to salvage this democracy. Today we celebrate Abiola or those people who have contributed to the success story of June 12 because they laid their life, they put their life on the line.
A bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to review the requirements that qualifies a person to be elected as president and vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, governors and deputy governors of states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and for related matters. Second reading.
We have used these 3 days to upload most of these proposals. Are they law at this moment? The answer is no. They are not laws. Whether it's indigenous sheep that people are talking about, or it's a women reserve seat, all those proposals are not yet bills.
For capital punishment as well as immunity, it's something that we have to debate later on in more detailed form. And I thank you for your understanding, the sponsors of the bill. They also understood that for now, we'll keep it until we debate later on in a more thorough, comprehensive form. Thank you.
Cognizance of the fact that Professor Wosu laid a landmark foundation, blah, 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 blah. This is the reason it is even more painful that you allegedly have all this courage to conduct elections. I'm on record as saying that Professor Wosu and President Babangida fooled 18 million Nigerians that voted.
President Tinubu to name structures after Ngosu, it will not happen. It will not happen. Tinubu will not do that.
He failed at the critical moment when he's supposed to salvage this democracy. Today we celebrate Abiola or those people who have contributed to the success story of June 12 because they laid their life, they put their life on the line.
For Nigerians getting to hear the name Humphrey Nwosu for the very first time, born on the 2nd of October 1941 and passed on the 20th of October 2024, was a Nigerian civil servant and was also chairman of the National Electoral Commission (NEC), appointed by the then President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, who held office between 1989 to 1993. Humphrey Nwosu is, best known to be the chairman, the one who sat on NEC when the election, the June 12 election, was conducted, and who also conducted the June 12, 1993 election, which was seen as the fairest, freest election to date, in which Chief MKO Abiola won the election. But when it comes to declaring MKO Abiola, winning the election, not until recently, where we heard from MKO IBB himself. Not until recently, we will definitely give that credit to Muhammadu Buhari, who took the courage to announce and, of course, give what is due of MKO Abiola to him, even, in his grave, and the children were there, to receive the honor. So it's safe to refer to MKO Abiola as a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's one of the biggest stories in the news this morning, and also 60 years age limit. All right, that's another big one. And of course, the statement of that to prevent certain individuals from, participating or running in the 2027, general election is a big deal. And trust me, you can't even overlook that in Nigeria today. And of course, the immunity withdrawal bill, House under fire for that. I'm very interested in that. And of course, some constitutional review of parliamentary system of government. Can we say that the House, at the moment is discussing very critical issue of national development, or certain issues that might elevate, make some people stronger, or somehow pluck the wings or feathers of some people whose feathers might seem to be getting longer than expected? And finally, among other stories in Nigeria today, President Bola Tinubu marks 73rd birthday, 6 spiritual guidance for Nigeria. With me in the studio this morning to help us make sense of all of this on a Friday morning is Mr. Olaliko Sonny. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Chief.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, well, I'm fine. I'm doing well. We thank God for the gift of life that we have. Let's start with the president's birthday, shall we? Count the number of your days and rejoice in the Lord. 73 is not a small one.
Yes. Congratulations to the president. Today is his birthday. We pray for him that he has the strength and the wisdom to sail the ship of Nigeria to a very beautiful and wonderful port. But for now, let's just say happy birthday to the president.
Thank you. Today is the president's birthday. All right. Let's talk about motions thrown out of the door on the floor of the House. Just a while ago, I played an excerpt. We had the voice of Adams Oshomole. And it's very clear, and not just Adams Oshomole, but there's a division on this matter as some members of the House, walked out on the session and then had a meeting. Of course, not in agreement of throwing out the motion to immortalize Nwosu. But thereafter, a 1 minute silence was actually observed for Professor Nwosu. Let me get your reaction on that throwing out of the bill to immortalize Professor Nwosu. And comparison in some quarters, not comparison as such, but when it comes to immortalizing people, there are several MKO Abiola roads in the country, even in Ibadan here. We have our national stadium, MKO Abiola, now a former president of Nigeria. But now throwing Humphrey Nwosu's, case just out of the window like that. Let me get in your reaction on that.
Thank you very much, Chief. There was this idea of renaming the headquarters of naming the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission after Professor Humphrey Nwosu.
Absolutely.
That was their own idea of immortalizing the man. Who exactly do you immortalize? In my opinion, you immortalize heroes. You immortalize people who showed bravery at the point of having a lot of things to lose. Without due respect to the man, he conducted a very beautiful election, but I wouldn't rate him so high. And the reason for that is that he conducted this election in 1993. He died in 2024. He had 31 years to tell Nigerians what actually happened. But he did not. He kept quiet. It was not until Muhammadu Buhari woke up one day, maybe on the good side, on the right side of his bed, to tell us that actually Abiola won. Actually, we are going to refer to Abiola as a former president of Nigeria. He was not inaugurated, but he won. He had popular vote. That alone qualifies you to be president. And Babangida did what Humphrey Nwosu should have done. Babangida didn't just tell us that Abiola won. I mean, the character of the person involved here is a different ballgame, but let's focus on what he said. He gave us a state-by-state analysis, not even analysis, a result from each and every of the states we had as of then. Abiola scored XYZ in Habia. Tofa scored XYZ in Hademawa. He gave us exactly what Professor Humphrey Nwosu should have given us. If Professor Humphrey Nwosu had done that, I would have been at the forefront, campaigning for a very beautiful way to immortalize the man. Well, he didn't do that. I mean, so what if we are to name the headquarters of HINEC after him? For what purpose is that actually? Tell me what Professor Humphrey Nwosu did differently than the guys who are there today. So what that means is that maybe 30, 40 years, you are going to name a building after Mahmoud Yakubu. Seriously? No. You reward bravery. You reward courage. You reward transparency. And you reward integrity. The election might have been fine. You can't even attribute the fact that people trooped out to him. People were tired of Babangida then. People had hopes. They said, as of then, we wanted democracy. And people trooped out, just like they did in 1999 as well. So why exactly will we be naming a building after this particular person? I mean, I'm sorry, but this is my opinion.
Let's look at the recent revelation, I'll call that, of the former president, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, who, his leadership under him, the military regime at the time, annulled the result of the election. Of course, not until years back, did we now get a valid, declaration even years after? But even in Babangida's lifetime, being a former president, there are so many major Nigerian infrastructure, I would say, named after Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Even on this show, we got reactions as regards the revelation in the content of the book as it concerns the 1993 election. Humphrey Nwosu at the time, Humphrey Nwosu working under Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, most importantly, working under a military regime. What could Humphrey Nwosu, what could he have done? That's one. And immortalizing Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida even in his lifetime. And we pray for, better days for him and longer life. However, when Badamasi Babangida is older and then, passes on, are we going to be having this conversation of whether hero or not, whether being a villain or whatever in the story of nation building in Nigeria?
Thank you. As regards what Professor Humphrey Nwosu could have done, I mean, it would be asking for too much to expect him to say anything other than what the military administration of Babangida had said then. As of that time, he couldn't do much because clearly his life must have been on the line. The Abacha years, the same thing. Abacha incarcerated Abiola all through. I mean, coming out to say this person won would throw some sort of legitimacy problem into the works of Abacha. Unless maybe he was an exile, he was not in Nigeria, of course he could have done that. But 1999, we transitioned into democracy. General Obasanjo, now President Obasanjo. A lot of people had issues with his democratic credentials, myself included. But we had Yar'Adua, somebody who not many people can fault when it comes to democratic credentials. He could have spoken out then. We had Goodluck Jonathan. He could have spoken out then as well. At the point when Buhari said, okay, Abiola won, what we needed as of that time was Professor Humphrey Nwosu coming out to say, this is what I've been waiting for all my life. Yes, Abiola won, and these are the results from each and every state. I mean, if that's the case, people might still say, oh, but you should have spoken earlier than a military dictator. But, you can still give us one or two excuses to say, oh, I was afraid, this, that. But now that a military dictator, now president, has come out openly to say Abiola won, then I have nothing to lose again. It didn't come out as of then. Now you are saying that we should immortalize someone like that. I mean, I don't believe in that. As regards immortalizing Babangida, we have done a lot of wrong things in this country. Let's not go into that. As far as I'm concerned, only two past leaders are worthy of immortalizing, as far as I'm concerned. And that's General Murtala Muhammad and Umar Musa Yar'Adua. The rest of them, they don't even deserve naming a kiosk after them.
All right, your opinion. Let's move on to this story on the Punch newspaper. 60 years age limit. PDP orders knock rep, says bill against president Gov's misplaced. The People's Democratic Party, the coalition of united political parties, and the Social Democratic Party have condemned the House of Representatives more to impose age limit for the officers of the president and governor in the country through a bill that passed second reading on Thursday. Let's take our first call. This call has been on the line for a while. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Dr. Westwood.
Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is George. I'm calling you from Ologua.
Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for joining us. Let's have your perspective.
Just on this first discussion you had now, I want to say that I have always loved Dr. Sonny's ways of looking at issues. But this morning I want to disagree with him. He knows very well that if Nwosu has declared this thing, he will not be alive that 30-something years that he's in place. Please, if you do things that will make people not to start thinking the other way, is it because he's an Igbo man? That is why when you start mentioning Abiola, there is no time I hear the name Abiola that tears will not come out of my eyes. Because in that election, everything about Abiola went down. Even now, we don't hear anything about Abiola. Forget about naming him as the president of Nigeria. When I came back from work and my wife said, Abiola wants to become president, he wants to die as president. I said, what is he looking for? Because Abiola was on top of the world. At that time, there's no place Abiola cannot enter. He went in there and they killed him. Please, let us give honor to those whom honor is due. That man conducted one of the fairest and freest elections in this country. You don't know why that man kept quiet for this number of years. But you know how many people died as a result of that annulment of that election. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. George. I would want us to pay attention to Mr. George's response for a moment, and that's because the Southeast caucus of the Senate, expressed shock to that development. And if not for anything, for conducting the freest and the fairest election, don't you think Humphrey also should have at least be, given a chance or honored for that section of the work he did?
I should thank Mr. George for calling me out this morning. He's one of the fantastic friends that Wells Radio has given me. Though we have never met before, but I always love his postulations. Now let me now express myself. I said something earlier that it might have been difficult for him to say anything when Babangida was still in office. I said that it still must have been very difficult for him to say anything when Abacha was in office, except unless he was far away from the shores of Nigeria. But when Obasanjo came on board as president, when Yar'Adua came on board as president, when Goodluck Jonathan came on board as president, when Muhammadu Buhari became president, even Tinubu, you have had 5 presidents. You could have said whatever you wanted to say. You could have said whatever you wanted to say, and there wouldn't have been any sort of retribution. That is my belief. I'm not always right, but in my opinion, that is it. I love to celebrate bravery. You can't just pick everybody on the street and say, okay, I'm going to make you a hero. No, you work to become a hero. Everywhere you go today, everybody hails Gani Fawemi, they hail Fela Nicola Bokuti. Do you know what those guys went through? I don't want to start the lyrics this morning, but can you imagine the type of words Fela used to describe Buhari then? Those are the people you immortalize. I have nothing whatsoever against Humphrey Nwosu, but he could have done more, especially when we transitioned into democracy. Things were a little bit easy then. Things were not that tough as they were under the military. That is it. He said something, Mr. George, he said something that I don't understand. That is it because he's an Igbo. Sir, the only identity, in my opinion, is male and female. I don't care where you are from. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your creed. I don't care about your orientation. Apart from your gender, the only thing that matters to me is what you are saying. So saying somebody is Igbo, Yoruba, let me now say something. I am a Yoruba man, and I'm saying it loud and clear here. I didn't believe in Abiola. I don't know whether Mr. George is going to ask him, Mr. Sani is okay this morning, but I am okay. I didn't believe in it. And the reason is this. Go through the books. 70s, all through the 70s, he was in bed with the military chiefs. All through the 80s, he was in bed with the military chiefs. Tony Anene said something. If we can reference Babangida, we can reference Tony Anene too. Both of them they are of the same DNA. But he said something that nobody has come to challenge. And apart from Tony Anene, who actually put it in black and white, he was the chairman of SDP then, Abiola's political party. He said Abiola was the one who approached Abacha to knock Shoneka out of office so that he could declare him as president. You think somebody is going to risk his own life so that I can declare that person as president? Things don't work that way. I'm just saying things that we can see in black and white here. Emotions have no place in my life. I only see in black and white. I've never believed in him. I don't know if you know that song. International Thief Thief. we are not supposed to be where we are in terms of telephony, in terms of communications. 77. I mean, Mr. George is an old man. You should know what I'm talking about here. I never believed in Abiola. Trust, it was a case of Emiloko.
Let me open the phone line so other people can join the conversation this morning. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, or 0915-333-4893. Let's take this. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. George, is that you?
I just want to
All right.
add that the statement I made, if you recorded it, play it again to him before he leaves. I am still in love with you because I like how you present your comments. So please, I'm not against you. I'm not from the East. I'm from Delta. And I'm not tribalistic. Let's look at these things very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. George. Thank you so much for
Mr.
your
George,
submission.
this is just an academic exercise, sir. I can never have issues against you. I love this. It's a robust debate. I wouldn't even call it argument. It's a robust debate, and that's why we are here. We are here to make ourselves better and finer. That is it, sir. I love you.
Even on the floor of the House at the moment,
yes,
they're divided on this matter. And as described by one of the members of the House, this may be delayed, but it will not be denied. Also was the person who laid the foundation that we're enjoying today. If we have a contrary opinion, you too can join the conversation, and if your opinion, aligns with whatever side,
with Mr. George,
even on the floor of the House, really, let's
this
just
is a democracy.
Let's just get your thoughts. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000. Now let's go to the 60 years age limit. A bill that passed second reading on Thursday. The House aimed to prevent individuals over 60 from running for president and governor in Nigeria. If the bill scales legislative scrutiny and is signed into law, the president, the vice president, or the President Bola Tinubu, the former vice president, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, will miss out of the 2027 general election. As all of them are above 60 years of age. The PDP criticized the move as a misplaced priority, accusing the lawmakers of focusing on, trivial issues while neglecting, more important ones. They argued that Nigerian main governance challenges lie in corruption, incompetence, and lack of patriotism rather than age. Do you think this is targeted at a different at a section? But again, one would say if this is for the president, even the president is 73 years old today.
Let me ask you a question, Chief. Have you ever thought of the fact that the President National Assembly is going to come up with something that is clearly against the interests of the current president? I don't think so. I don't want to say it's impossible, but I would rather say I don't think so. So for me, this is just an exercise to justify why they are spending so much money on the yearly ritual of constitutional amendment. If I'm not mistaken, the last time I followed to the story, they budgeted 32 billion naira.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Adenke from Houston.
All right, Adirunge. Let's have your perspective.
Yeah, on the immortalizing, I don't think that is the problem of Nigeria for now. How will immortalizing a dead body is hell that Nigerians are going through? After all, he did not beg the president to reverse the economic policy of this country. So he's talking about someone that is dead. So I think this is a lost priority at the misplaced priority at this time. I don't think.
Thank you so much, Adirunke. Your own perspective and your opinion, and it counts.
I see this as an exercise to justify why they are spending so much money. The other day it was immunity. Yesterday they came out to say, okay, we're no longer removing immunity. Now it's barring people from holding offices. You don't have the right to do that. What the Constitution says is that you must attain the age of 35. There is no ceiling. there is no ceiling. If you come up with that, it's discrimination. Look at the President of America. He's almost 80. The oldest president in the history of America before Biden was, at the time of becoming president, was Ronald Reagan. And a lot of people will tell you that, oh, talk of modern day America, and Reagan was the finest president. In terms of policies, the economy was down, foreign policy was down, and he rebuilt the country. He was an old man. We have a lot of issues we should be talking about. It's not, I don't believe that a certain section of people have common sense, while other people don't have. Common sense does not have copyright. You cannot say, oh, Yorubas have sense, Delta people have sense, Gombe people have sense, Hausa people, Ishekiri. No. It's not about that. It's about your personal capacity and how much you've been able to develop yourself. It doesn't know gender, it doesn't know religion, it doesn't know creed. That is it. So for me, the reason why there is a benchmark is you need to attain some level of maturity before you can say you want to lead a whole country. That is understandable.
But do you think where we stand in our nation at the moment, if you go on X, where you find a lot of young people, one of the issues we have at the moment, especially from tweets on the internet, would be because of the age factor. They would refer to some of them being tired already, grandparents who should be retired by now. Away from whatever constitutional conversation or review or amendment is going on the floor of the House at the moment, do you think we should actually look at age benchmark for at least the presidential office in Nigeria?
Let me ask a question. When Ayo became governor of Kogi State, how old was he? He was 40. He became governor at the age of 40. Donald Duke became governor of Cross River at the age of 37. Ojuzo Kalu became governor of Abia at the age of 38. Apart from maybe Donald Duke, what can you say about the other two? That you cannot say about those who became governor at the age of 70 and above. It's still the same thing. It tells you that age is not the factor here. The age of our rulers is not why we are where we are. We are here because there is a dearth of ideas, positive ideas. And that is why I am saying that I love it when it's more the merrier. Let's have a large pool of people that can contest. I like the fact that now you can, before it used to be 45, before you can contest to be president. They pulled it down to 40, now it's 35. I like that. A lot of guys who are in their 30s, even late 20s, are doing exceptionally well. Gowon became the leader of Nigeria at the age of 29. He didn't, in my opinion, he didn't do well at all. But, he was still president at the age of 29. Let's have it at 35 till infinity. For as long as you are fit, you can stand, you can run, you can do whatever you want to do. Now tell us why we must vote you in as the president. It's not about your age. It is about your character and your personal achievements. Because I always say something. If you have a first-class brain, you have a first-class brain. If you had a first class in Yoruba, trust me, if you had gone for medicine, most likely you would have come out with a first class too. So if you have achieved beautiful things that we can verify in your personal life, chances are high that you are going to transfer your skills for achieving success into the political system as well. That is what we should be talking about. What are the antecedents of this person? When things were tight, when things were tough, what did this person say? I don't like people who stand on the fence. I like it when it doesn't have to be what you want to hear, but I always like to have an opinion so that at least posterity will say, this is where Sonny stood on this particular matter. We need to find people who have come out to say, this is what I believe on this particular topic, not people who are just, drifting with the tide. No.
All right, this bill was sponsored by Kenga Ugochinyere. The bill provides that a person shall qualify or shall be qualified for election to the office of the president if he has been educated up to at least university level and has earned a bachelor's degree in the chosen field of study. I'll come back to that if you agree. The Principal Act is amended by inserting photograph, which read, looking for another part here, a person shall be qualified for election to the office of the president if he has been educated up to university level and has earned a bachelor's degree in the chosen field, that he is not more than 60 years at the time of vying for the office. Let's talk about university degree. In Nigeria today, we still have that university polytechnic dichotomy, which is still a challenge for a lot of people to progress career-wise. University education, presidential qualification. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, we lost that call. Please do call us back.
Like I said the other time, I always like to have an opinion on, certain topics. I'm not going to shy away from that. To the glory of God, I'm a university graduate. But I used to know a lot of people who were in school then. Not even as students, even as lecturers, that when they open their mouth, you begin to wonder, do you have a leaky skull? And you see some people that, like we say in Yoruba, and when they open their mouth to give you advice or you seek opinion or you're just, talking on general topics, the way they are going to articulate their points, you begin to marvel. Chief, if you had gone to school, trust me, you would have gone ahead of your mates, ahead of your peers in your class. What I'm trying to say here is, in America, there is no primary school certificate before you become president. Go and verify. You don't have to go to school at all. You can be whoever, you can be whatever. Just make sure that the people can relate with you based on what you are saying you want to do.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right. That's
Ronald Reagan was an actor, and he became one of the finest U.S. presidents in history. It may not be a popular opinion, but for me, education is fantastic, but it is not a decider, it is not a determinant when it comes to having common sense. I have a lot of people I know who went to school, they have a lot of certificates, but when the chips are down, I won't talk to them because I know that there is nothing I'm going to get from them. And I have a lot of people that didn't go to school, they have never touched the wall of a school before, and when they talk to you, you have that confidence that, this guy is saying is making a lot of sense. So for me, let's just throw it open. And for the dichotomy, I don't understand. A guy goes to the university for 4 years. You go to Polytechnic, ND 1 and 2, 2 years. You do IT 1 year.
1 year.
You come back HND 2,
1 and 2.
HND 1 and 2, making
That's
5 years.
Your youth service year.
And university guys do go to, they do that as well. Okay.
Let's see if this line is going to pull through this time. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, man.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Benga. Good morning to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir, Mr. Tony. Happy Friday.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Now, I want to ask Mr. Tony one question. And the question is this. Looking at what the bill recently being passed by some of those senators and those rep members, are those bills, that we are switching towards restructuring? Because looking at some of the bills, especially from the military, removing the military from the governor and deputy, as well looking at the age discrepancies now, and some other bills like that they are passed, that are just trying to pass in the recent bills now. Can we see we are switching towards restructuring? That's number one. And number two is that you could recollect talking about the age discrepancies now. Buhari, I think he could not, when he was the president, he was having issue with his premises certificate. And I think he left office, he was unable to present his premises certificate. And how I'm trying to find a fact now that what is the qualification of Buhari when he was the president? Does he have a premises certificate truly before he is governing us? Because the reason why I ask that question is this: Buhari, though is very smart, but he was having some lacunas while he was the president, so that during his own regime, economy was not economically viable. Talking about the economical situation of the country then, it's the economy. It was lacking behind when it comes to developing the economy of the country, because you cannot go above the knowledge that you have. Talking about the age now, Buhari is of age, but I think him not having the university education, or him not having the first degree or whatever education that you also have, that inflicts a very bad impact in the development of the economy of the country. Because see, one thing about the age is this. About the academic qualification is this. You cannot compare someone who has a PhD, you can't compare him to someone that has just a first degree. You can see the age differences. So you can see the academic differences. So I cannot, if you put the two of them on the academic field or on a particular field, you can't expect them to perform at the same optimal level because the IQ is there, the creativity is there, the intelligence is there. So talking about the qualification now, I think I want to go with the line that the person that will be vying for the post of Mr. President to have at least first degree. If you want to get a job in lecturing in a university now or a polytechnic, the highest we have now is master. I'm telling you, because when you get your master's, then if you have been employed, then you can go for a PhD. So I think that is to broaden and to widen your knowledge and prepare you for the task ahead. So I think in Nigeria today, if we should go into that, if we should make that law come to reality, it will sharpen the brain. It will develop the intellect of the person that will be coming to vie for the post of president. Because if you cannot allow just a premises certificate to come and be ruling, what does he know? Because there's a place of intelligence and there's a place of smartness. Because what we are teaching towards is we want a better economy. And you can't expect someone who is just a 26 older to know how to, even if he doesn't know how to read some of those books that will help him in giving us a good country, he might not even be able to deduce or to say the fact of what the book is saying. So I think the qualification is of high potential. And Mr. Sonny, please answer my question. Are we teaching towards restructuring? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gwinga from Akpata.
Yes, let me start with the idea of having somebody who went to school as president. The Constitution says...
Oh, mind, we have another call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? This is Mr. George.
Mr. George.
All right, Mr. George, yeah.
You see, being educated is a very good thing. But I want to ask a question. Don't you think that if President Tinubu is having people who are having good knowledge of what is happening in this country, people who can direct him well, don't you think he would have done better? I remember we used to say that education is not sense. You cannot say because you went to graduate, then you have sense more than every other person. Or you have interest for the good things of this thing. If the party has a good program for the country, and the people who are practicing it are following that program to make sure that the people are receiving what they want, making life better for the masses, things will go well. Whether you are educated or not, I tell you, APC is failing because they have this idea of whether you are a thief, whether you are a robber, whether you are anything, just come to APC, you will be free. And that is what is happening now. You can see everything is failing. So please, education is good, but education is not one having sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. George. You know what we're going to do? Let's take a break quickly. Okay. When we come back, we talk about, you answer Mr. Gbenga-Mayo's question. There's another, okay. Thank you so much. We'll take a break quickly, and when we come back, we talk about more stories, and hopefully time will let us talk about Atiku Abubakar and Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State. We'll be right back.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on these websites: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, 0707-338-4828, SEC 0209-462-1168. Announcer, FSRCC.
Cognizance of the fact that Professor Wosu laid a landmark foundation, blah, 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 blah. This is the reason it is even more painful that you allegedly have all this courage to conduct elections. I'm on record as saying that Professor Wosu and President Babangida fooled 18 million Nigerians that voted.
President Tinubu to name structures after Ngosu, it will not happen. It will not happen. Tinubu will not do that.
He failed at the critical moment when he's supposed to salvage this democracy. Today we celebrate Abiola or those people who have contributed to the success story of June 12 because they laid their life, they put their life on the line.
Wells Radio, 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Welcome back to the program Perspectives Unlimited. Let's quickly, let the analyst respond to some questions from Mr. Gbenga Mario. Yeah.
Mr. Mario, let me ask you a question, sir. Muhammadu Buhari.
All right, another call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
You go in the studio.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, sir.
Happy Friday to you all.
Thank you so much, sir.
May God be with you.
Amen. And you too. Your name, sir?
My name is Tayo.
Okay,
and
Mr.
I'm calling from Ibadan here.
All right, Mr. Tayo.
Yes, sir. I disagree totally with Mr. Gbenga Mario that a PhD holder is far more intelligent and more proactive than a first degree holder. I totally disagree with him. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe had two PhDs. Chioma Femi had BSc in economics and LLB. Chioma Femi was the Premier of Western Region. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was equally the Premier of Eastern Region. Later, he became President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Can you compare the achievements of Awolowo with that of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe? Nigeria had television before France. Is Nigeria and France, are they on the same pedestal now? When you talk of the G7 countries of the world that has the best economy, France is among them. Is Nigeria among them? The first television station in Africa was established by Chioma Femi Awolowo. Western Region Marketing Board, first in Africa, was put up by Chioma Femi Awolowo. Free education in 1955 was put up by Chioma Femi Awolowo. That is what makes the Southwest the engine room of Nigeria, both economically, educationally, and what have you. So that one has a PhD or one has a school cert, it has something to do with the ability to perform excellently.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Mr. Tayo. Because of time, that will be our last call. So
let me just go deep into what Mr. Mario said now. In his opinion, Buhari didn't go to school. President Tinubu, in his words, went to a university in Chicago to study accounting. He claims to have a master's degree in accounting as well. Now put the economy under Buhari on one side, put the economy under President Tinubu on one side. Which of the two is better? We've been saying restructuring since 2011, and we are still talking about it. That tells you that when the PDP was in office, the ACN that metamorphosed into APC was saying restructuring. Now, have they restructured anything? Ask for the exact thing you want, and don't join politicians in carrying this vague word all around. That is it, sir.
All right. Time would not permit us to take more stories, but I'll just point us to the direction of this allegation of 2023 election funding between Atiku. There's a link between now, an alleged, allegation of a link between Atiku and Sanwo-Olu. And that, according to an allegation, Atiku and the candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi, secretly funded Sanwo-Olu while Tinubu, the leader of the Lagos politics, was equally on the ballot. And you find that story on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. If you have some time, you can check it out online, or hopefully we'll look at that by 8 o'clock. Thank you so much, Mr. Sonny, for joining the program.
It is always an honor to be here.
Thank you so much, Oyo State. Thank you, Nigeria. And thank you, the capital of Oyo State, Ibadan. That's all we can take today, and this is Perspectives Unlimited for the week. Tomorrow, join Chikwemeka Munachiso and the men on the roundtable, and Perspectives Unlimited will return again on Monday. My name is Ayo. God bless you. God bless our nation. Good morning.